Hey guys, it's Matt with BleepinJeep.com. Today we're at Jeremy's shop and we're going to install a TMR Customs, what they call a, 15 bolt?
15 bolt.
On a 14 bolt. So a 14 bolt, this is a 14 bolt axle. It's really big, really beefy, really heavy. Now the problem with the 14 bolt axle is that it sticks way down into the ground. So you're talking about a loss of ground clearance whenever you install one of these things. So TMR has come up with a shave kit which saves you about 2 inches, and when you're talking about ground clearance, 2 inches is actually a lot, so you don't get hung up on those rocks. So what we need to do is cut the bottom off of this axle housing. We're going to shave the ring gear, so we're going to bring that down a little bit. You put a new cover on. As you can see, the bottom is cut off of that cover, and then we have to weld this little piece onto the bottom of the cover, and the ring gear just barely clears that, and we save 2 inches by doing that. So if you're interested in that, check them out, TMRcustoms.com. Let's get started.
First step's getting this big old monster on the table, getting it on the jack stands. And I'm dealing with Wee Man right here.
I got it. No, coming down.
Alright, that was a fail. Okay, let's spin it.
If we had it the other way, I could have done it.
That's what I said.
It caught the pinion.
Ooh, I'm lightheaded now. Try two.
I threw out my back the first time.
Alright, come here. Alright. Ever so slightly, start setting it down on the table. Which side you going?
I think you did that by yourself.
The TMR kit here, this is how much we shave off the bottom. It's almost a full 2 inches from there to there, and this is the plate right here that matches the other plate on the other side that we're going to weld on. Cutting it up that far, that's a huge amount of clearance on this kit. That's a good sign, good clean fluid. This is a full float axle. All the 14 bolts you're going to find are going to be a full float. This is the difference. The axle itself goes in here. They have individual hubs like this right here. The axle bolts in from the outside. To pull an axle out of a full float, it slides out like this right here. And that's how you take an axle out of a 14 bolt full float differential. We're going to remove the differential so that we can start cutting the housing right here and prepare it to for the plate to go on. But before we put the plate on itself, we're going to take right here and cut the ring gear down. Traditionally, you're going to take this to a machine shop. They'll put it on a lathe. But today we're going to show you how you can do it in your own garage. We're going to take a grinder, and we're going to spin this, and we're going to grind this down with a grinder. It's going to take a little while, but we're going to do it ourselves and see how it goes. And we're going to cut the housing ourselves with a bandsaw and a sawzall. We're going to take a grinder to this and cut this down. It's going to have to go down probably 1/4 of an inch or so, and that's what we're going to try to do. So first steps, take the carrier out, clean the housing, and then we're going to cut it, and once it's cut, then we'll grind this down. Always remember, guys, when you take off your bearing caps, don't get them confused, don't flip them, don't mix match them. If you've seen that in other videos, but just remember, don't get them mixed up. Mark them if you can. If you don't know how to tell the difference, you can mark them. Chisel on one side, flat and flat, chisel on the other side, up and down. If it's a Dana always has them marked on there. So, but just keep in mind, don't get them mixed up. Okay, some of y'all have seen some of the different Dana axles and different things like that. the 14 bolt, one of the coolest features is the spanner nuts on the outside. So when you're setting the ring gear, your backlash right here, when you're setting that, these two spanner nuts, they screw into the housing. So you don't have to worry about shims inside your bearings or outside. So it's a really neat setup. It's one of the best setups. Super easy to set it up in general. You just take and tap them. They'll go around. And then this right here is going to want to fall out as you loosen that up right there. So be careful. Really heavy. Voila! We're going to set this up on here and get these two bolts started to line the cover up. And we're going to try to start measuring. TMR wants you to come down 3 1/8 inches from the bottom of the tube. So we're going to do our best to get that 3 1/8 on here. And what we're thinking, get your cover started, get it on there, make a mark, make a mark. This is 5/8 of an inch, and the cover we're welding on is 5/8 of an inch. So this mark here will come up 5/8 of an inch on the inside, and we'll do that here in a minute. And we'll put a new mark, and that will be our cut line. And that's what we'll do now. Now this was the bottom of our cover mark that we made a minute ago. We're going to make a new mark up above this 5/8 of an inch. And that 5/8 of an inch, when we lay a straight edge across that line, will come out to 3 1/8 right here. And we take that line and run a bigger piece of metal across through there like so, and we check from here to here and here to here. It should be 1 1/8 inches or 3 1/8 inches down from the bottom of the tube to that line. Okay, we're trying to line up this plate on the axle right here. So what we've done is we've bolted this to the cover. We've lined this up to the bolt holes in the carrier so that we know we're lined up side to side correctly. And what we're going to do is we're going to go right down here and line this up all the way around and make our mark, and that'll be where we start cutting. Make sure you get it good and clean, guys.
There you go, get to cutting.
Alright, so we're going to try and cut on this line right here. Now you can use any kind of tool that you want, but we're going to try to use a portable bandsaw. You could also use a sawzall, or another option, if you really want, you could take it to a machine shop and have them mill this completely flat. That'll give you the best result, but most people aren't going to want to machine this. For one thing, it's so heavy, but there's other ways to do it. So let's give it a shot with the bandsaw. Ow.
Yahtzee. Man, that thing fits good. Do a little grinding. Perfect. Love it. TMR. What we're doing right now is test fitting, just to make sure it slides all the way up on there exactly we want. Just keep grinding a little where there's little high spots till the whole thing fits perfectly along the bottom. Oh baby, you. Right, Matt?
Alright, so we've made sure that it will bolt down, and it does, it fits perfect. But before we can weld this bottom up, what we have to do is shave down the ring gear, because the ring gear is not going to fit in here now. We're going to use the axle to turn the ring gear instead of having it machined. So that the ring gear will fit in here, we can't have this welded just yet.
Alright, this is the pinion that comes out of the 14 bolt. As we did all the grinding and cutting and got everything to fit perfect, we noticed that some metal shavings fell down into the bearing right here. So we didn't want that, so we had to take it apart to clean it. We also realized when we started to spin it that you could feel the metal in the bearing. We knew this would happen, we just didn't know how bad. So we went ahead and decided to pull the pinion out now, clean all the bearings out, and get all the little metal shavings out of the bearing. There's a couple little holes here you can spray in, as well as spraying on the bottom here and get it all out, and it'll spin free again, just like it was when you started.
So since you guys are watching this video before you do yours, we're going to suggest that you take out the pinion gear before you do the metal shaving stuff. That way you don't have this problem. So we were planning on spinning that pinion with a drill, but after you take it out, this sucker spins very nice without it. We're thinking if we can put a grinder on there, hit it with the grinder, it'll start spinning this with it. So let's see what happens. The directions say to stupid airplane. The directions say to shave this down to 10.05 inches. It's a little hard to measure now that it's inside here, but that's what was that, 3/16 of an inch on either side. So what we can do though is just to shave it a little bit at a time, and then we'll see if it's going to fit on there. It needs to clear to make sure that doesn't come in contact with this piece right here. So
This is trial, what do you want to call it? First try?
try number one.
Try number one.
Don't get sparks on the lens.
It's not my fault. I think we gotta go down. Now I gotta spin it down. I'm spinning it sideways. That works like a champ, but I have a feeling we need to lube the bearing. Let's get some lube. All right. It's still going. Y'all have home? Don't try this at home. It's all the way up. It's not hitting. Spinning. Boom. Alright, we got a awesome thought here. It's gonna quit spinning before we get there, but I'm gonna put a huge blob of grease and check the clearance. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think, Matt?
Sounds good to me.
That's it right there. Look at that. I'm gonna say it's pretty close. I'm gonna say we need to grind a little more. It's not a whole lot. Make a man out of you. How do you fence off a bunch of waspers? With brake cleaner. Oh God, damn it on me.
Alright guys, so we've cleaned it out on the inside. What we need to do now is weld it, but first we need to heat it up 400 degrees. We're going to heat this cast, and we're also going to heat the bottom so that they both expanded at the same rate. And we've got a gun here, we can read the temperature. When it gets to 400, we'll go ahead and tack it up and then weld the inside first and then the outside.
Hell yeah! Where'd you put my bolts? Right. What do you think, Matt? I love it. Alright, we're to the point where we're going to tack weld this on and start the welding process. Hopefully you can still see everything as long as I don't stand in the way of the light. And first off, we're going to tack the outside, and then we're going to take the cover off and weld the inside, and that's per TMR's instructions, and that's what we're going to follow. And everything's working out great. Can't ask for it to go on any better. So here we go.
We started
Whoa!
a fire.
Good job, Matt. You're fire watch, Matt.
Whoa!
That's your job. Matt, alright.
There's more.
There's more.
There's more.
Okay. There we go. Alright, let's finish tack welding this. I like it. It's welding actually really well. Glad we heated it.
What the hell is wrong with you? I thought you were pouring the water on here.
Hot and heavy, Matt. It's warm, very warm. Need bigger gloves. Let's preheat it, Matt.
Jeremy, your weld looks good, but you did harm a bug, so I'm going to have to call PETA.
Yeah. They attracted that bright light.
Alright guys, we are done for tonight. Obviously you want to go ahead and put the ring and pinion back in there once it cools off. We're going to wait to do that. And you need to set up the ring and pinion again. But other than that, it wasn't that hard. The hardest part was the weight of this thing. This thing is heavy, so moving it around was pretty difficult. But other than that, not too bad. So if you're interested in a 14-bolt shave kit, check out TMRCustoms.com. You can buy them there. It's called the 15-bolt shave kit. And check out my website too, BleepinJeep.com. We've got off-road videos, all kinds of how-tos and parts and discount coupon codes for you there, BleepinJeep.com. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.